This is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Rishi K.
Radio One.
Last leg of what's been a fascinating discussion with Rama Shyam from We the People, a citizens collective, an initiative that is really putting us in touch with the Constitution of India and how we can use it, interfacing, interacting with the judiciary, the executive and the state. Okay, now you just gave us a fascinating example of an instance of public action for implementation of laws and rules, etc. I want to now shift focus to the right to education, the RTE. 2009. Any instances of the public actually using that for furtherment?
Sure. So right to education has now become a fundamental right under Article 19 of the Indian Constitution.
That's right.
I'm going to give you an example of what happened. There was a guy called Feroz Ali who had two children aged 7 and 11, and they had recently moved to Calcutta from Cuttack.
Okay.
He wanted to secure admission for his two children in a local school, went to the school, where right at the first instance, the principal asked him to cough up 50,000 rupees for each child to seek admission. Feroz Ali knew a little bit about the Right to Education Act and knew that the school could not take so much money as admission fee. However, he did not know what to do about it. And for him, what is most important was the children's education. You see, under the Right to Education Act 2009, Rishi, no school can demand capitation fee, which is prohibited under the Act. The school can actually be fined 10 times the amount of the capitation fee demanded by it. So let us see what are the steps to file a complaint against the school for demanding capitation fee. Following procedure laid down in Section 32 of the Right to Education Act, a written complaint has to be made to the local authority of the area, such as the Gram Panchayat or Zilla Parishad, the district council, or the municipal corporation. All these are bodies which are responsible for enforcing the Right to Education Act, and they are notified by the government to receive complaints. The local authority must decide on the complaint within 3 months. While dealing with the complaint, the local authority must hear both sides, that is the complainant as well as the school authorities, teachers, government officials, etc. If the complainant is not satisfied with what happens at this level, the complainant can once again appeal against the decision of the local authority to the State Commission for the Protection of Child Rights of that state.
Just repeat that, the State Commission for the Protection of Child Rights. Okay.
Or to the Right to Education Protection Authority. I repeat, the Right to Education Protection Authority. Till a State Commission for the Protection of Child Rights is set up. So basically, you see, not every state might have a State Commission for the Protection of Child Rights. However, every state right now has the Right to Education Protection Authority. A complaint can also be made to the officials of Education Department at the block, district or state level, as well as to the School Management Committee.
And they all have the responsibility to monitor the working
to ensure that children can get admission in schools without capitation fees.
Rama, thanks so much for this session. Full power to you and We the People, and we'll see you soon. A very, very happy Republic Day to you.
Thank you. Same to you, Rishi K, and same to all the citizens.
This is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Rishi K.
Radio One.
On my Republic Day special, instances of citizens using the Constitution, working within the Constitution of India and our fundamental rights to actually affect change. And Vinita Singh and Rama Shyam from We the People have been doing a wonderful series, and this is the culmination of that, a 1-hour interview. Okay, now in Gurgaon, something very, very interesting happened as regards Malba, which is construction debris.
Right.
And that has really changed a lot of things in terms of RTI, in terms of RTR filing and the result of that. Just run us through that, please.
Yes. So this is actually a classic case which will take us through each step in the civic action tool, because this is how citizens in Gurgaon went about it. And this was a fallout of the We the People citizenship program in May 2013. A group of 10 citizens identified the lack of any site for Malba or construction debris in Gurgaon. And Malba was all over the place. As you know, Gurgaon was coming up as a big city. What they did was, the first step that they took was to study the website of the Municipal Corporation of Gurgaon. And they found out that the MCG had actually floated a tender for processing of Malba, and the site had been identified for this way back in 2012. However, there was no written mention of whether the work on this tender had indeed started or not. So what citizens did was, they started action parallelly on two important aspects. And a right to information application was filed with MCG asking for information on sites selected for Malba disposal. The second thing that they did was, they lodged a complaint stating the problems related to Malba and urging for quick action. Also, a meeting with MCG officials, was arranged for. Now, the officials claimed that the site identified as part of the tender process needed environmental clearance. Citizens actually procured the minutes of the meeting of the committee for site selection. It was asked for and received without filing an application, a right to information application. Please note this. Section 4 of the Right to Information application says that there are information which you can ask for orally. You do not need to file a written application. Complaint was filed with the Secretary of the Department for Urban Local Bodies in Chandigarh, and from research it was found that the MCG Commissioner reports to this department. So you see, citizens were figuring out the hierarchies, the chains of command within the department, which makes the work all the more effective. And then media was brought in. All the written complaints, RTI replies, meeting minutes were shared with the local media, and the Hindustan Times and Times of India in Gurgaon came out with more than 6 stories on this subject. The work is still in progress. However, by September 13, environmental clearance papers have been filed by the MCG with the Environment Ministry for one site. And this is all because of the citizens group working on this diligently, moreover, with the conviction that this needs to be done, this can be done, and can be done by ordinary citizens.
Full power. Where can we get in touch with you and we the people to find out more?
Great. Come join us at the launch of our Civic Action Toolkit tomorrow at Kitab Mahal Fort between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. in the afternoon. The Civic Action Toolkit actually outlines steps to interface with the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. You can reach us at info@we-the-people.in. Our website is www.we-the-people.in. Facebook page, facebook.com/we-the-people.
This is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Rishi K.
Radio One.
It's my Republic Day special. Day after is the big day. But Rama Shyam from We the People is in because I don't have a gig on Sunday, remember? It's a citizen action group that helps us understand our constitution better and use it, for example, in instances of public action for implementation of laws and rules. Now, what really worries a lot of us, Rama, is sexual harassment at work,
Right.
It assumes so many different monstrous proportions. In extreme cases, women are stalked. Bosses asking for sexual favors as condition for promotion. Obviously makes the work environment really, really hostile and unsafe. And a lot of women are not complaining because of fear of losing their jobs or being sidelined at work. So a lot of changes and the right changes have started happening in this particular sphere. What is really the trigger and the remedy? I want you to talk about that, please.
So, to really understand how sexual harassment at workplaces has been addressed legally, we need to go back to 1992. And interestingly, this started with Bhavri Devi, belonging to the Dalit community in Rajasthan, who was a village-level worker in the women empowerment program of the Rajasthan government. Isn't it ironical? She was gang-raped by 3 men of a so-called upper caste community for stopping a child marriage in their family. An FIR was registered, followed by the lower court really acquitting the 3 men. But this was taken up by the women's rights organization in Rajasthan called Vishakha. And there were others, of course, who felt that the issue of security of women at the workplace was a serious problem. And this was really, really common. You see, we have always had molestation or verbal sexual abuse as an offense under the Indian Penal Code. But the punishment was really lenient. People would, be punished for a few years, and most women, as you just told us, Rishi, would not even complain. What Vishakha and the other women's groups did was that they filed a public interest litigation, a PIL, to enforce the fundamental rights of working women under Articles 14, 19 and 21 of the Indian Constitution. They requested the Supreme Court to issue guidelines to ensure that women at work are safe and are not sexually harassed. This case has come to be very well known as the Vishakha judgment or the Vishakha case. In 1997, the Supreme Court of India said that a woman has a fundamental right to dignity and safety at the workplace, and any kind of sexual harassment violates this right. In April 2013, voila, we have a law. Protection of women from sexual harassment at the workplace. The law was passed by the parliament. The bill was passed by the parliament. It became an act with the president's assent, and it was notified in November 2013. Notification really means that now is the time. From now onwards is the time when the law is in force.
Full power. More conversation with Rama Shyam from We the People. This is getting exciting. More instances of public action for changing laws, making new laws on our Republic Day special.
This is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Rishi K.
Radio One.
On my Republic Day special leading up to the big day, it's We the People, a citizens collective that do citizens cafes absolutely free of cost in various spaces, educating us, enlightening us about the Constitution of India. And Rama Shyam is from the organization. She's here with me. Public action, Rama.
Yes, Rishi.
We're seeing an increase in that to highlight
Absolutely.
issues, to pressurize stakeholders,
Absolutely.
filing complaints, lobbying. But officially speaking, or if you were to map it, what are the used methods of public action?
So, public action really comes up, Rishi, when when a number of tactics of pressurizing the government to implement laws or rules have failed to work. That is when we have seen people out on the streets. However, there are certain steps, certain logical steps, which will lead to effective working of this mechanism. The first logical step is to raise awareness amongst the community members. For example, we have seen a lot of people on the streets protesting about issues, but many a times we find that there's a complete lack of perspective.
That's right.
People don't even know what they're protesting for. So that is the first thing we need to do, which can be done through pamphlets, posters, films, street plays, etc. Information gathered through the Right to Information Act can be shared at the awareness-raising meetings. Holding consultations with different stakeholders is another step in this. Please use the media as far as possible in different ways to create awareness, highlight issues, and create pressure. And we are actually living in good times where the media has been really cooperative in taking up citizens' issues, and we see it every day.
Now, after collecting information, creating the awareness, socially, is there any way that we can put more pressure?
Absolutely. So we have a huge number of civil society organizations working on various issues in the country. For example, in Mumbai, we have the Advanced Locality Management Group, which are really citizens collectives working to, create pressure on these departments. And apart from that, we have had episodes of Satyamev Jayate, where we have really seen civil society groups working on different issues, lobbying for it, creating awareness, building perspective.
Up ahead, we're going to talk literally about instances of public action for implementation of laws and rules with Rama Shyam from We the People. Give out your coordinates, your website, your email ID where people can reach you, Rama.
You can reach us at info@we-the-people.in. Our website is www.we-the-people.in. The Facebook page is facebook.com/We the People. We are launching all this information as part of our Civic Action Toolkit to be launched tomorrow at Kitab Mahal at Fort.
What time
Between
is that?
2 and 4 p.m. in the afternoon.
Okay.
This is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Rishi K.
Radio One.
My guest of the day is Rama Shyam from We the People. It's a citizens' initiative that helps us interface with our constitution. I've really found out that it's almost like the way you run a company. It's the action document, so to say. Now, lots of times what happens is laws and rules don't address our problem. You can collect information on an issue and you find there's no legal provision to address your issue or the problem at hand. What does one do then, Rama?
So, there are really two levels to it. You need to figure out where the obstacle lies. If you figure out that due to a government policy, a citizen is being deprived of any right or entitlement, then this can be revoked through the government order, which is really the work of the executive. However, if you see that it is a right or entitlement that is being deprived because of a law or there being no law on that issue at all, then a new law will have to be enacted. And the enactment of a new law lies within the domain of the legislature, the state legislature or the parliament. So either the MLAs or the MPs sitting in Delhi. So to revoke a government order, put pressure on the government to revoke the order, lobby with the elected representatives so that they can pressurize the government to change it. To get a new law passed, you have to interface or lobby with the MLAs or MPs of all political parties to ensure that the law is introduced. Please remember, it is not just the ruling government that passes laws. It is the entire parliament which comprises the ruling party, the opposition et al.
Obviously, you decide on the approach, whether you want to approach an MLA or the MP, depending on the issue related to the state list or the union list.
Absolutely.
Yeah? And if there is no law, or any law that violates our fundamental rights, then what?
Then the High Court or the Supreme Court is the body where you get to. Because if you look at it, the courts, the judicial mechanism of the country is the third arm of the state, which is responsible for interpreting laws as well as working as a watchdog on whether we are getting the right laws or not.
Up ahead, we're going to talk about public action, such an important aspect of this. You want to see pictures of Rama Shyam in studio from We the People? It's at the rate of HRISHIKAY or facebook.com/HRISHIKAY. Like the page and it's on the timeline.
This is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Rishi K.
Radio One.
It's my pre-Republic Day special. Rama Shyam is my interview guest for the day. She's from We the People, a citizens' initiative that helps us stay in touch with our constitution, understand it, and use it in our day-to-day existence. Now, the usual thoughts around taking civic action are, why should I complain, Rama? In any case, usually no action is taken on a complaint. Also, a lot of people, if you actually Google it or do a wiki on it, you see the number of RTI activists who have been killed and who have been hurt. People are not taking very kindly, especially people in power, to RTIs being filed. So your thoughts on that, please.
My first thoughts on this is really that, if you do not complain, how will you ever come to know if action will be taken or not? In fact, I've heard authorities, public officials tell us that we know that no one has a problem or grievance and everything is working fine because we do not really receive complaints. So my question is everything really working fine? What do we think about that as citizens of India?
And about the targeting?
So when you're filing a complaint, please know that you can put the names of more than one person, or also add the name of the organization or group that you are affiliated with. For an RTI application, either you can file it as an individual, you can also go as a group. You can ask for a few different people from different places to file the same RTI application to really put pressure on the government department to ensure that the law is implemented. Also, share this information in the public domain. Make it media savvy. Tie up with the media to give more weightage to the complaint that you have filed or the grievance that you are trying to redress. In any case, even if filing as a single person, always copy to senior functionaries of the department, implying that it is in the public domain and it is not between two people.
Yeah, and in several cases, you don't need to really personally go and face the officials, isn't it? I mean, complaints and RTI applications can be filed through post or email or
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, do the right thing. More conversation up ahead. It's We the People and Rama Shyam, my guest for the day. Stay with us, some messages and back.
This is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Rishi K.
Radio One.
It's my Republic Day special. We're just 2 days away from the big day, from 26th, and I thought, hey, since I'm not on air on that particular day, I got to do something today. Rama Shyam is from We the People, a citizens organization that helps us stay in touch with the Constitution and the Preamble of India, and a fascinating discussion here with her. Listen, we just talked about elementary things like not getting your complaint redressed. You said you can, hug say, with a great degree of conviction, walk into the municipal commissioner's office. Even if that were not to work, what can one do as a citizen within the framework of the Constitution?
So far, Rishi, you see, we've been concentrating on how to interface with the executive.
Yeah.
Now comes in the legislative, our elected representatives. People we vote in, and they come to us saying that, please vote for me. And we choose the candidate. And that is really which is the first step in democracy. We elect someone into an office which is responsible to make the executive accountable, to actually make the executive work. So what happens is, if your complaint doesn't get redressed, go to the vigilance or monitoring committees. There are certain public authorities or offices that have vigilance and monitoring committees. In Bombay, we have one for health that I know of. And members of citizens or local elected representatives are on these committees. A copy of your complaint to the executive department should be given to them so that they can monitor the situation, because it is ultimately their job, the job of the corporator, the MLA or the MP, to take up my problems as the citizens, because it is I who they represent as elected representatives. And if they take up an issue, it carries much more weight, and the officials tend to act on the complaint faster.
Now, I've got a question for you. When approaching elected representatives,
right,
how do we find out if the issue falls under their area of work? For example, let's take a ration card, something as simple as that.
Right.
Just talk about that, please.
So, if you say a ration card, well, to tell you very, very honestly, the rationing department in Mumbai works very, very effectively. So, in that case, I don't know whether you will need to go to a vigilance committee at all. Nevertheless, there is a vigilance committee related to rationing and the public distribution system in Mumbai. What happens is, when you go to the website of the rationing department or the PDS system in India, you will find that on the website, it talks about the vigilance or monitoring committee and the names of the members who are citizens or elected representatives who are part of that vigilance committee. And they're actually also supposed to display the contact details, contact numbers. So that is how you get to know who is on the vigilance.
So you're basically
committee.
saying the ration department is a state subject and not a municipal subject. Yeah?
It is a state subject.
Yeah. So for issues related to ration, the MLA should be approached and not the municipal corporator.
Not the corporator.
Okay, got that. Rama, where can people reach out to you? I believe there's something very exciting happening tomorrow, and also your coordinates, please.
Yes. So tomorrow is a big day for us. We are launching our Civic Action Toolkit, a simple citizen's guide to interface with the executive, the legislative and the judiciary. You can come to Kitab Mahal in Fort, where we are going to launch the Civic Action Toolkit. For more details online, you can reach us at info@we-the-people.in. Our website is www.we-the-people.in, and our Facebook page is facebook.com/wethepeople.
Okay, what time is it at Kitab Mahal tomorrow?
So at Kitab Mahal, please join us between 2 and 4 p.m. in the afternoon.
Okay, more conversation with Rama up ahead. Don't go anywhere.
This is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Rishi K.
Radio One.
Guest for the day today is Rama Shyam from We the People. It's the Citizens Collective to make us more aware about the Constitution of India and the Preamble, and really processes that go into engaging with a civic issue at the various levels in governance. Now, just before the song played, you talked to me about how if you're complaining to a state department, make sure that it's registered or speed post or hand delivered. Get a copy stamped and signed. Also keep the registered or speed post receipt, and use toll-free complaint numbers, and they do work. Let's go a step ahead on that.
Yes.
Once you file the complaint, what does one do?
Yes. To be very realistic, Rishi. So once you have filed a complaint, it may not happen so that it cuts ice at the first time. Do not get disheartened. Write another complaint and send a copy to all the senior officers in the hierarchy of the department. Please avoid words like, "What is the status of my complaint?" Ask for signed and stamped copies of all the correspondence till date in the matter of your complaint, including memos, emails, covering letters for forwarding your complaint, etc.
And most citizens' charters actually state a time period for redressal of complaints, isn't it? Yeah?
Yes, they do. Follow that. In fact, when you make the first complaint, please write what is the time period within which your grievance needs to be redressed.
Okay, now we've written the grievance, we've followed it up very, very diligently, and still if there's something that hasn't happened, then what's the apex body, or the body larger than that one can go to?
So, in terms of the executive, it's really the departments that work on issues of roads, garbage, etc. But please note that if you are not able to get the executive to work on this, you need to figure out which is the highest department pertaining to that executive. For example, if you look at the Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation, we have our ward offices. We have K East Ward, K West Ward, etc., etc. The headquarters for this is really MCGM, which is Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai. This is an example, basically, which is just across VT station. Go there, meet the municipal commissioner. You as a citizen are entitled to meet the municipal commissioner and figure out which are the ways to make the municipal officers accountable to do the work.
Don't be shy about it, that's what she says. More conversation with Rama Shyam, some messages and back.
This is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Rishi K.
Radio One.
Rama Shyam is from We the People, and if you guys have been listening in regularly twice a week, she or Vinita Singh from the organization have been coming and talking to us about the Constitution of India and the Preamble and what it means in our daily life. Hi, how are you?
I'm very good, Rishi. Thank you so much.
Wonderful to have you as an interview guest. First and foremost, what does We the People do? What is the focus of your activity, and what are you hoping to achieve?
So, We the People is essentially a citizens collective. We work on bringing the Constitution of India back to the lives of ordinary people in India. Essentially to say that we as citizens of India need to look upon the Constitution of India as a responsibility document rather than just a document that prescribes our rights. So we work around the preamble to the Constitution of India. We discuss what each value enshrined in the preamble to the Constitution means to us as individuals. And we do it with citizens all over the place. We do discussions in skyscrapers, we do discussions in offices, in slum communities, across the board with different communities.
And all free of cost, yeah?
Everything free of cost.
Super stuff. You know, the last time you were here, just to do a small section, we were talking about a citizen's kit and some civic action. And you said, you know, even if you feel strongly about ration, voter ID cards, you know, pension, identify the issue, identify the law, identify the departments and the people in the hierarchy who deal with those issues, and gather as much information as you can. Absolutely. Now I want to talk about action. Now when you know that implementation of laws and rules has not happened, what are the steps to take action against the judiciary, the state and the executive?
Right. So, I'm going to start off with a very useful tip here. The tip is really that very often when we as citizens go to complain to officials responsible for implementing rules, acts, laws, etc., they say, do not file a complaint. We assure you that the work will be done. You know, please do not listen to that. Always file a complaint. It is not possible to hold any official accountable on verbal assurance. Which is why the first step really is to rely a lot on paperwork. And remember this, you should know as a citizen of India that when you are filing a complaint, you have a pile of papers with the official you are filing the complaint with. So as the number of papers increase there, the number of papers also increase in your file, which means that you have been an active citizen engaging with the officials in a department, and they can in no way refuse or deny anything for which there is proof. Now, coming to the second point, is how to write a complaint. We have a format as part of the annexure in our Civic Action Toolkit, which can be shared with you. Remember that the complaint can be sent to any department, any government department by registered or speed post, by email, or can be hand delivered personally. If you happen to hand deliver the complaint, please ensure that you take a copy of the complaint, get it received by the official and stamped like an acknowledgement. If you post the complaint letter, please keep the registered or speed post receipt. Always remember that you should have proof of anything that you do with any executive department. Some departments and authorities today also have toll-free complaint numbers. Use them. For example, the Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation has 1916. And if you ask me, I have used 1916 to call in fumigation people.
And it works?
It works.
Super.
Dhua wale aate hain. They drive the mosquitoes out.
More conversation with Rama Shyam from We the People. She's going to be with us through the course of this hour. Don't go anywhere. 94.3 Radio 1.
This is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Rishi K.
Radio One.
It's a series on the Indian Constitution leading up to Republic Day, which is 26th of January. A process that's meant to take you through different tools that will enable you to deal with people, systems and structures that make up the state and engage with the civic issue at various levels and governance. Rama Shyam from We the People, the last time around, talked about identifying an issue, identifying the law, and identifying the different departments and authorities related to the issue. Could be anything, like, a forest cover, or why roads are not being properly maintained, and so on and so forth. And Rama is here. Good morning, how are you?
Good morning. Thank you, Rishi. I'm doing well.
Okay, the next step, after all the 3 steps that I just enunciated.
Great. So the next step really is for a citizen to gather as much information as possible. And please remember that all documents related to any law or to do with the state machinery is always in the written form and is available to any citizen of India. What is really important for us as citizens to know is that when we try and engage with the executive department, which is responsible for implementing laws, rules and acts, we need to engage with them through a written format. Everything that we do also needs to be written down in the form of a complaint or in any whichever way you wish to address that department. For example, taking your example of the forest cover going down, we as citizens first need to gather all information relating to laws pertaining to the forest covers. We need to decide which location we wish to work on. Also figure out which department is responsible for it, the official responsible for it, write a complaint addressed to that official. And what is crucial to be included in that complaint is, please mention the article number, the fundamental right which is being violated as a consequence of the forest cover going down. And that is essentially what makes your complaint very, very effective. And you can find the format of the complaint in the Civic Action Toolkit, which is a simple guideline for citizens to interface with the executive, the legislative and the judiciary.
Is it already available or you're launching it somewhere or someplace? Yeah?
We are in the process of designing it. We are launching it in the public domain on 25th of January at Kitab Mahal in Fort in Mumbai. Join us for the launch.
Your coordinates, please. Any Facebook page or email ID that we can reach We the People. It is a citizens initiative, and I'm really proud to say that these citizens cafes you're doing are absolutely free of cost. Yeah.
Yes, we do free of cost citizen cafes to talk about the Constitution of India and the preamble, the values in the preamble to the Constitution of India. You can reach us on our website www.we-the-people.in. Reach us at info@we-the-people.in. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/We the People.
This is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Rishi K.
Radio One.
It's our series on the Indian Constitution and how it impacts you and me in our daily life, leading up to Republic Day, which is the 26th. Vinitha Singh from We the People had been coming in, and now it's Rama Shyam from We the People. Good morning, Rama. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, now we talked about the state, the executive, and the judiciary, and the roles as regards us. Now I want to know about the processes, the different tools that's going to help us deal with people's systems and structures that make up the state.
Great. So the first step really to engage with the executive, which is basically government officers who implement laws and rules in this country, is to be able to identify the issue that concerns you. So the issue you see can be anything. You may choose to work on issues of garbage disposal or accessing government services like widow pension, or review conditions in schools related to infrastructure, quality of education, etc. It could be anything that disturbs you as an individual citizen of the country.
So if I'm worried about forest cover going down, land acquisition which is irregular, a small thing like groundwater levels, I could also count that as an issue which I can actually go and research on. Okay, fine. Issue identified. Now the next step before we actually go about making complaints or filing RTIs and this and that, what's the next step?
So once you identify your issue, please remember that you will have to at your level, gather information around that issue. What is the law related to that issue and how is it supposed to work?
Isn't that difficult going through government orders or judgments on issues and
Not
things like
really.
No.
In fact, nowadays we are in a quite advantageous position because with the Right to Information Act coming into place, all of these orders and laws had to be digitized.
Okay.
And we can find them on government websites.
What are you saying? Wow.
Yes, and we have Google at our disposal. I have been finding out laws and acts through Google every day.
Super stuff. So, okay, identify the laws, identify the issue. Let's go ahead. What's
Yes.
next?
And the department that is supposed to implement these laws.
Okay.
So, for example, if we say forest cover, as a citizen, I will need to know what are the laws related to it and which is the executive department that is supposed to enact these laws or bring them into force. That is really the first step in engaging with the executive.
And also, you know, people in power in that particular department. I mean, you can't just go to, somebody who's a domestic help in that particular office, isn't it? Yeah?
True. So when I say that you need to figure out which department is responsible for it, each departmental website also gives you very clearly the hierarchies of office in that website.
So you're saying designations, positions of office bearers who are directly responsible
Right.
for this
Absolutely.
is available there. Great
Absolutely.
stuff. Great stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay, it's almost like a citizen's kit what Rama is going to lead us through with We the People. Where can we get in touch with you? What are your coordinates?
You can reach us for more details on our website, which is www.we-the-people.in, and our Facebook page is facebook.com/we the people.
See you next time.
Thank you.